Have you ever felt like life has pushed you to the ground? Like no matter how hard you try, everything is falling apart. We all face seasons like this. Moments when the world seems dark, when our dreams feel distant, and when we question our purpose. But here is the truth that most people miss. It is in these lows, these valleys, these moments of struggle that God is closest to you. Yes, He is not just with you when you are on top, celebrating victories, but He walks with you when you feel defeated, when your heart is heavy, and when your spirit is weak. Today, I want to take you on a journey to help you discover the extraordinary power of looking for God in the lows. First, understand that lows are not signs of failure. Many people run from struggle, thinking that if life is hard, they must be doing something wrong. The reality is, lows are part of growth. It is when you are tested, when you are challenged, that your character is formed. When you look for God in these moments, you find wisdom, patience, and strength that you could never gain in the highs. Every great leader, every successful person has faced valleys. The difference is not the struggle itself, but what they choose to do in the struggle. Do they curse it, ignore it, or do they seek guidance, clarity, and divine wisdom? Second, the lows teach you humility. When everything is going well, it is easy to feel self-sufficient, to believe you have all the answers. But when life strips you of your comforts, your achievements, your resources, you are forced to recognize that there is a power greater than yourself. It is in these humble moments, when pride is gone and desperation fills your heart, that God's presence becomes undeniable. He does not abandon you. He allows you to feel your need so that you will seek Him, so that you will grow beyond your limitations. Third, look for God in the lows, because that is where clarity is born. When life is easy, distractions surround you, decisions are clouded by comfort and complacency. But in struggle, you are forced to face reality. You are forced to ask the hard questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What truly matters? It is in these moments that God can speak to your heart in ways that are clear, focused, and transformative. He uses the lows to realign you with your destiny. Fourth, lows reveal your true strength. Often, we believe that strength is shown in victory, in accomplishments, in accolades. But the real strength is shown when you rise after being knocked down, when you keep walking despite the weight on your shoulders, when you choose faith over fear. Looking for God in these moments fuels that strength, because you realize that you are never alone in the struggle. Every step you take, guided by His wisdom, becomes a step toward triumph. Fifth, embrace the lows as opportunities for reflection. Life in the high moments is fast, noisy, and distracting. The lows, although painful, give you the space to pause, to think, to evaluate your choices, and to change your direction if needed. God often whispers in silence, in stillness, in moments when the world seems to be against you. By paying attention in these valleys, by seeking Him in the struggle, you gain insights and revelations that transform your life forever. Sixth, the lows prepare you for the highs. Many people celebrate success without realizing that it is the trials and challenges that prepared them for it. Life is not a straight line. It is a staircase, each step lifting you higher, each struggle building your endurance. When you consistently look for God in the lows, you are developing the vision, the patience, and the wisdom that will carry you through the next level of life. The lows are not punishments, they are preparation. Seventh, finally, the lows teach you the power of faith. It is easy to trust when everything is going well, but true faith is proven in the dark, when nothing seems to make sense, when the road ahead is unclear. Looking for God in these moments strengthens your spirit, trains your heart to believe beyond circumstances, and molds you into someone unshakable. Faith is not the absence of struggle. Faith is finding God in the struggle. So, when you feel the weight of the world pressing down, when you feel lost, when doors close and hope seems distant, remember this: look for God in the lows. Do not ignore them, do not resent them, do not run from them. Embrace them as the teachers they are. Understand that He is not absent, He is not silent, He is not punishing you. He is walking with you, guiding you, preparing you, and strengthening you. And when you choose to seek Him in these moments, the lows become the greatest chapters of your life story, the moments that define you, shape you, and launch you into your purpose. Your life is not measured by how high you fly when the wind is with you, but by how you rise when the storm is against you. The lows are not the end, they are the forge where resilience is created, where faith is tested, and where greatness is born. Look for God in the lows, and you will find wisdom that surpasses understanding, peace that surpasses circumstances, and strength that surpasses your imagination. Every struggle, every hardship, every disappointment is not a detour. It is a stepping stone. Seek Him, trust Him, and walk boldly. For the valleys are not your enemy, they are your allies. They are the secret passages that lead to the mountaintop. Many people look at failure and struggle as if they are the end of the road, as if they are signs that life has rejected them. We often hear stories of people who succeeded, but we rarely hear the battles they fought to get there. Imagine a young student who fails an important exam. The weight of disappointment presses on their shoulders, the shame feels unbearable, and for a moment they believe they are not capable. Yet, if that student stops for a moment, looks at what went wrong, studies the mistakes, and learns from them, that failure becomes the foundation for growth. Lows are not meant to humiliate us, they are meant to teach us, to shape us, and to prepare us for what is next. In daily life, every person who has achieved greatness has been through seasons when the world seemed to be against them, when their efforts felt wasted, and when hope seemed almost impossible to find. Those moments, though painful, were not signs of defeat. They were invitations to grow. Consider the young entrepreneur who launches a business and it fails within the first year. The bills pile up, the clients disappear, and friends begin to doubt their vision. Most people would see this as proof that they should quit. But the successful entrepreneur understands that the loss is a lesson. They analyze the mistakes, adjust their strategy, and come back stronger. The failure was never the enemy, it was a stepping stone. The low point, when it feels darkest, is the moment when insight is born. The entrepreneur who learns from the setback develops resilience, sharpens decision-making skills, and gains a wisdom that cannot be taught in classrooms. Without the lows, the growth would never be as profound. Think about athletes, the people who compete at the highest levels. They do not become champions because they never fall. They become champions because they learn to rise after falling repeatedly. A sprinter may stumble at the start of a race, losing precious seconds. But the ability to recover, push through pain, and finish strong is what defines the victor. Each stumble is not a failure, it is a lesson in discipline, in focus, in perseverance. When we look at the lives of these athletes, we see that the lows, the defeats, the injuries, the losses were not the end of their story. They were the moments that built character, strength, and determination. In our personal relationships, lows also serve as growth opportunities. A couple may experience conflict, miscommunication, or even separation. In that low moment, when emotions are raw and the heart feels heavy, they have the chance to reflect, to understand each other better, and to grow individually and together. If they run from the struggle, the relationship may never reach its potential. But if they face the low, confront the challenges, and work through the pain with patience and understanding, the relationship becomes stronger and more resilient. Life's lows are often disguised as opportunities for transformation in ways we cannot immediately see. Even in the world of art and creativity, lows play a crucial role. A writer may face rejection after submitting manuscripts to publishers. Each rejection feels like a confirmation that they are not good enough. Yet, those rejections force the writer to refine their craft, to dig deeper into their voice, and to develop a style that resonates with people. The lows are not signs of inadequacy. They are the pressure that turns raw talent into mastery. The painter who struggles for months on a single piece, frustrated by mistakes and imperfections, often creates the masterpiece that defines their career because they embraced the process, learned from the struggle, and persisted through the low points. Even in daily life, the principle is the same. Consider someone working multiple jobs just to pay the bills, exhausted, overlooked, and underappreciated. In those long hours and lonely nights, they are developing patience, work ethic, and a resilience that cannot be bought or taught. Every low moment, every hardship, every challenge is quietly building them into someone capable of handling greater responsibility and achieving greater success. When they finally step into a better position, they will do so not because life was easy, but because the lows prepared them to handle what others cannot. The truth is, growth is rarely comfortable. It rarely happens in easy circumstances. It happens in moments that stretch us, in challenges that test our limits, and in struggles that push us beyond what we thought possible. The lows are not punishments, they are invitations. They call us to rise above mediocrity, to strengthen our minds, to refine our hearts, and to discover parts of ourselves we would never have known in the highs. Every person who has achieved greatness has had moments when failure seemed inevitable. The difference is not in avoiding the lows, but in embracing them, seeking God in them, and allowing them to transform us into something stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. And so, when life knocks you down, when doors close, when plans fail, when disappointment stares you in the face, remember this: the low is not the end. It is the beginning of growth, the testing ground for resilience, the classroom of wisdom. It is in the low moments that we discover who we really are, what we are truly capable of, and how far we can rise. The student, the entrepreneur, the athlete, the artist, the worker, all of them learn this same lesson: lows are not failure, they are growth opportunities. Many people think humility is weakness, but true humility is the foundation of strength. It is easy to feel proud when everything goes well, when doors open effortlessly, when recognition and success come without struggle. But life does not measure you in your victories alone. It measures you in the moments when you have nothing left to lean on except faith and character. Lows teach humility because they strip away the illusions of self-sufficiency. Consider the young professional who climbs the corporate ladder quickly, earning promotions, recognition, and praise. One day, due to a sudden change in the company, they find themselves without a job, without the security they thought was permanent. The world that once seemed to revolve around their achievements now feels indifferent. In that moment, they are forced to confront a truth they often ignored: their success was not theirs alone. They depend on circumstances, opportunities, and guidance greater than their own ability. It is in that low, that moment of vulnerability, that humility emerges and the dependence on God becomes real, tangible, and undeniable. Humility is born when we realize that our plans, our efforts, and even our talents are not enough to carry us through life without guidance. Think about a student who struggles with exams despite studying diligently. Frustration builds, self-doubt creeps in, and for a moment they feel defeated. But in that moment, when they pause and acknowledge that they need help, that they need insight beyond their own understanding, they experience the beginning of dependence on God. Lows make us admit that we do not have all the answers, that we are not in complete control, and that our strength alone cannot always sustain us. It is in admitting our limitations that we open the door to divine wisdom, clarity, and direction. Consider the single parent working multiple jobs to provide for their children. Every late night, every exhaustion-filled morning, every moment of financial uncertainty humbles them. They realize that they cannot do it alone, that their effort, though important, is not sufficient without guidance, patience, and faith. In these lows, dependence on God becomes a lifeline. The struggles that initially felt like burdens transform into lessons in humility. They teach that pride must be set aside, that control is an illusion, and that true strength comes from acknowledging our need for help beyond ourselves. Even in relationships, lows teach humility and dependence. A couple may face betrayal, miscommunication, or separation. In the heat of anger and disappointment, both parties may feel justified in blame, yet the low moments push them to reflect, to apologize, to forgive, and to rely on guidance greater than their own judgment. The moment they admit they need wisdom, patience, and understanding beyond their human capability, they step into humility. They see that relationships thrive not on ego or pride, but on trust, empathy, and the willingness to seek higher guidance. Without the lows, humility is never tested, and dependence on God is never cultivated. Look at athletes, the people who achieve greatness on the world stage. They do not become champions because they were always strong. They become champions because they faced defeats that humbled them. A runner who collapses during practice, who falls short in a race, who endures injury, learns humility through their pain. They understand that talent alone is not enough, that perseverance must be guided by strategy, discipline, and insight beyond themselves. In these lows, dependence on God grows because they realize that strength alone cannot overcome every challenge, and that guidance, focus, and endurance must come from a source greater than personal willpower. Even in creativity, lows teach humility. A musician who faces rejection from record labels, a writer who sees countless manuscripts returned unread, a painter whose exhibitions fail to draw attention. All are humbled by the reality that effort alone does not guarantee success. In these moments, dependence on God becomes the anchor. They begin to seek inspiration beyond themselves, to practice patience, and to trust that timing, opportunity, and insight will arrive when they are ready to receive them. The lows break arrogance, dissolve pride, and plant the seeds of humility that are necessary for true growth and achievement in everyday life. Lows are everywhere. The student failing a test, the worker overlooked for promotion, the family struggling to pay bills, the person battling illness or heartbreak. All these moments are invitations to humility. They teach that life does not revolve around personal control or ego, and they remind us that we are part of a larger plan. When we embrace the lows, when we accept them as lessons rather than punishments, we discover that dependence on God is not a weakness, but a source of unimaginable strength, peace, and clarity. The truth is, humility and dependence on God are cultivated not in comfort, but in struggle. The lows are the mirrors that reflect our limitations and the classrooms that teach us reliance on guidance beyond ourselves. Each moment of challenge, each setback, each disappointment is a teacher whispering that pride must be set aside, that control is not absolute, and that true life is lived in partnership with the divine. The person who masters humility in the lows becomes unshakable, not because they avoid hardship, but because they learn to lean on a power far greater than their own understanding. Every daily struggle, every hardship, every moment of vulnerability is an opportunity to grow in humility and dependence. The lows are not punishments, they are invitations calling us to release pride, to embrace our limitations, and to seek wisdom, guidance, and strength from the one who never fails. The lesson is clear: the higher you rise, the greater the humility required, and the deeper the dependence on God cultivated in the lows. We often go through life moving fast, chasing goals, collecting achievements, and measuring success by what we acquire or accomplish. We fill our schedules with activities, our minds with plans, and our hearts with endless desires. It is easy to get lost in the noise of the world, to confuse business for progress, and to let distractions determine our focus. But it is in the lows, in the moments when life slows down and pushes us into the depths of struggle, that clarity arrives. When the noise disappears, when comfort is stripped away, when everything familiar is challenged, we are forced to see what truly matters. Consider a person who loses their job unexpectedly. At first, panic sets in, anxiety grows, and uncertainty feels suffocating. But in the silence that follows, they are compelled to look inward. They begin to ask themselves questions they never took the time to ask. What do I really want to do with my life? What truly matters to me? Who do I want to spend my time with? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? It is often in the valley, in that moment of loss and uncertainty, that the fog lifts and the priorities become clear. Daily life is full of distractions that keep us from clarity. A student may be juggling classes, social media, and friendships, constantly busy but never truly focused. When that student faces failure, perhaps a failing grade or a missed opportunity, the distractions fall away, and they are forced to confront what matters most: their education, their discipline, and their commitment to their goals. Suddenly, the clutter of life becomes irrelevant, and they see clearly where their focus should lie. Lows have a way of cutting through the illusion of importance that surrounds us, revealing what is meaningful and what is superficial. Relationships also provide powerful examples of clarity through lows. When a friend betrays us or a loved one disappoints us, we experience pain and heartache. Initially, it feels unbearable, as if the world has turned against us. But in the quiet moments of reflection, we begin to recognize who truly values us, who supports us, and who deserves our trust. The lows act as a lens, sharpening our vision, filtering out distractions, and revealing the people and relationships that deserve our energy and devotion. In this way, struggles are not just hardships. They are instruments of discernment, guiding us toward authenticity and truth. Consider the small business owner who faces financial difficulties, empty shelves, and dwindling customers. Panic and fear are immediate responses, but if they pause and reflect, clarity emerges. They see what aspects of their business are essential, what is wasting resources, and what they need to prioritize to survive and thrive. They learn to focus on core values, essential clients, and critical strategies. The lows remove the unnecessary, stripping away excess and forcing attention to the heart of what is important. In this way, challenges become teachers, showing us what deserves our effort and what can be released without guilt. Even in health and personal development, lows bring clarity. A person who falls ill, who experiences physical limitation or pain, is forced to confront what is truly important in life. Suddenly, career ambitions, social expectations, and material desires fade into the background, and health, family, and inner peace rise to the forefront. The lows clarify priorities because they reveal what we cannot live without, what we cannot compromise, and what we should never take for granted. They focus the mind, align the heart, and sharpen the soul. Athletes provide another example. A runner who faces defeat in a race A weightlifter who struggles to reach a new personal record, or a team who loses a championship game, all experience lows that force reflection. The losses strip away overconfidence, expose weaknesses, and highlight areas that truly matter for success. In that moment, the athlete gains clarity about training, discipline, focus, and teamwork. Highs can blind us, inflate our egos, and distract us from true priorities, but lows cut through arrogance and bring insight that cannot be learned in victory. Creativity also benefits from the lows. An artist who faces repeated rejection, a writer who receives countless returned manuscripts, or a musician whose work goes unnoticed, all encounter moments of despair. But these low points compel reflection. What is the essence of my art? What message is worth sharing? What am I willing to sacrifice for my vision? Distractions fade, excuses dissolve, and the true priorities of purpose, passion, and authenticity emerge. The lows become the refining fire that clarifies our direction and sharpens our mission. Even in spiritual life, lows reveal clarity. When faith is tested, when hope seems distant, when prayers feel unanswered, we are forced to examine what is truly essential. We are compelled to strip away rituals, superficial beliefs, and external approvals to discover the foundation of our faith. The lows expose what is authentic, what is lasting, and what deserves our deepest commitment. In the absence of comfort, clarity emerges, and priorities are rearranged in alignment with truth and purpose. Daily struggles, failures, and setbacks are not random, they are deliberate teachers. They force us to pause, to reflect, and to reassess our focus. They remove distractions, cut through illusions, and reveal the priorities that matter most. The student, the entrepreneur, the parent, the athlete, the artist, all experience this truth. Lows illuminate what deserves attention, energy, and devotion. They reveal the non-negotiables, the essentials that form the foundation for a meaningful and successful life. The reality is that clarity cannot be rushed. It cannot be achieved in constant comfort or through easy victories. It is forged in the fires of struggle, shaped by adversity, and revealed in the valleys of life. When life slows us down, when it humbles us, when it challenges us to our core, we begin to see clearly. The distractions fade, the illusions dissolve, and the truth emerges. We see our values, our purpose, and our priorities with unparalleled clarity. Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it, when everything seems fragile, and when the weight of the world presses on our shoulders. It is easy to feel defeated, to believe that the challenges we face are stronger than we are, and to question whether we have the capacity to rise again. But it is precisely in these moments of struggle, in the depths of disappointment and hardship, that our true strength begins to emerge. Consider a young student who has worked tirelessly only to fail an important exam. The immediate response is panic, shame, and self-doubt. The world seems to close in, and the temptation to give up is overwhelming. Yet within that very moment of despair lies an opportunity, a chance to discover that strength is not defined by success alone, but by the courage to continue despite failure. When the student decides to study harder, to learn from mistakes, and to persevere, they are exercising resilience, cultivating a strength that cannot be measured by a grade or result. Look at the lives of entrepreneurs who have faced ruin yet rebuilt empires from ashes. A business may collapse, clients may vanish, financial pressures may seem insurmountable, but those who rise after failure reveal a kind of inner strength that only adversity can produce. The lows expose the human capacity to adapt, to innovate, and to endure. The entrepreneur who refuses to quit, who seeks solutions rather than dwelling on problems, discovers reserves of resilience previously unknown. Failure is not a verdict, it is a teacher. The lows strip away illusions, leaving only determination, perseverance, and the raw power of will. Even in personal relationships, lows reveal strength and resilience. Consider a couple who experiences betrayal or heartbreak. The pain is intense, emotions are raw, and the future seems uncertain. Yet those who choose to face the pain, to forgive, to communicate, and to rebuild demonstrate a strength of character that cannot be imitated. The lows force introspection, teach patience, and demand courage. They show us that resilience is not the absence of suffering, but the ability to navigate it, to emerge intact, and to grow stronger from the experience. Every difficult conversation, every moment of vulnerability, every act of reconciliation is a testament to the inner power that lies dormant until challenged. Athletes provide another compelling example. A sprinter may fall during a race. A basketball player may miss the game-winning shot. A weightlifter may fail to lift a record-breaking weight. In those moments, the athlete faces disappointment and the possibility of defeat. Yet the true measure of their strength is revealed not in the victory alone, but in the determination to return to training, to correct mistakes, and to push beyond previous limits. The lows teach endurance, discipline, and mental fortitude. They reveal that resilience is forged through repetition, struggle, and the unwavering belief that setbacks are not the end of the story, even in the workplace. Lows reveal character and strength. A professional may be passed over for promotion, criticized unfairly, or face a sudden loss of employment. The temptation to become bitter, to complain, or to give up is strong. But those who choose to reflect, to improve, and to rise above the circumstances demonstrate resilience. They transform challenges into opportunities, learn from failure, and discover that their capacity to endure, adapt, and overcome is far greater than they imagined. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone, every setback a lesson, and every disappointment a catalyst for inner growth. Consider the person battling illness or injury. The lows can be physically exhausting and emotionally draining, yet they reveal the human spirit's extraordinary capacity to persevere. Waking up each day, taking one step at a time, following the doctor's advice, and maintaining hope in the face of uncertainty is a demonstration of inner strength. The body may be weak, the mind may falter, but resilience is revealed in the decision to continue, to fight, and to refuse surrender. It is in these moments of vulnerability that the depth of human strength becomes apparent, showing that adversity uncovers what comfort never can. Creativity, too, thrives through lows. An artist facing rejection, a writer enduring criticism, or a musician struggling to find an audience experiences discouragement that could easily lead to giving up. But those who persist, who refine their craft, who pour their heart into their work despite setbacks, reveal resilience. The lows challenge them to grow, to innovate, and to persist when giving up would have been easier. The struggle uncovers dedication, determination, and the courage to stay true to one's purpose despite external pressure or doubt. Even in the everyday moments of life, lows reveal strength. A parent juggling multiple jobs to provide for children, a student facing relentless pressure to succeed, or a person navigating financial or emotional hardships discovers resilience through perseverance. The lows teach patience, endurance, and tenacity. They strip away excuses, expose limitations, and force a confrontation with reality. And it is in this confrontation that true strength emerges, an inner power built not on convenience, but on courage, determination, and the unwillingness to succumb to despair. The reality is that strength and resilience are often invisible until tested. Comfort and ease do not create depth of character. It is the challenges, the setbacks, and the moments of struggle that bring clarity about what we are capable of. Lows reveal that we have the capacity to endure more than we thought, to overcome more than we imagined, and to rise higher than we believed possible. The student, the entrepreneur, the athlete, the artist, the worker, the parent, all discover through lows that inner strength is cultivated not in times of ease, but in the fires of difficulty, the storms of adversity, and the valleys of life. Every challenge, every failure, every moment when the world seems to push us down, carries within it a lesson in resilience. It forces us to stretch beyond comfort, to confront fear, to rely on faith, and to discover abilities and determination that were hidden until tested. Lows do not diminish us. They reveal the hidden power within. They teach that perseverance is more important than immediate success, that courage is discovered in moments of despair, and that the human spirit is capable of far more than circumstances would suggest. It is in these valleys, when hope seems fragile and strength feels scarce, that inner resilience is awakened, honed, and revealed. Life is full of moments when everything seems to go wrong, when the world feels heavy, when disappointment, failure, or loss presses on our hearts. In those moments, most people panic, distract themselves, or run from the discomfort. But the truth is that lows are not enemies, they are gifts. They offer space for reflection, and through reflection, they open the door to transformation. Consider a young professional who has been laid off unexpectedly. At first, the loss feels like a personal failure, like the end of the road. The fear of uncertainty is overwhelming and anxiety creeps in. Yet in the quiet of the night, when the world is asleep and the distractions have faded, that person begins to reflect. They ask themselves questions they never asked before. What am I truly passionate about? What skills do I really have that I have been ignoring? What kind of life do I want to build for myself? The lows provide the pause that is necessary for self-examination, for deep thought, and for understanding what needs to change. Without the low, the reflection might never happen, and the transformation would be delayed or never occur. Think about a student who fails a major exam despite studying for months. The initial reaction is despair, self-criticism, and fear of judgment. Yet when they take a step back away from the shame and the noise of external expectations, they begin to reflect. They identify the gaps in understanding, the mistakes in strategy, and the weaknesses in focus. They see clearly how they need to adjust their approach, and they commit to a new path with greater discipline, awareness, and purpose. The low moment, painful as it is, provides clarity, insight, and the opportunity to transform failure into progress, weakness into strength, and defeat into a stepping stone toward future success. Even in personal relationships, lows are transformative. A couple may face betrayal, misunderstanding, or separation. The initial emotional storm feels unbearable, filled with hurt, anger, and confusion. Yet if both partners take the time to reflect rather than react impulsively, they begin to understand their own contributions to the conflict, their own needs, and the deeper dynamics of love and communication. Through reflection, they gain perspective and insight, and transformation becomes possible. The lows become the catalyst for growth, teaching patience, empathy, forgiveness, and self-awareness. Without the space that struggle provides, lessons are often ignored, and true change is rarely realized. Consider the small business owner who encounters financial loss, dwindling customers, or failed projects. In the chaos and pressure, it is tempting to panic, to blame, or to make hasty decisions. Yet the lows force the owner to pause and reflect. They analyze what went wrong, reassess their goals, and realign their business strategy with what truly matters. In that space of reflection, transformation occurs. They innovate, they streamline, and they build a stronger foundation for the future. The struggle, rather than being destructive, becomes instructive. It teaches what is essential, what is dispensable, and what must be nurtured to thrive in the long run. Even in physical challenges or health struggles, lows offer space for reflection and transformation. A person facing chronic illness, injury, or physical limitation must slow down, adjust, and reassess priorities. They reflect on lifestyle choices, personal habits, and the way they treat their body and mind. In this reflection, they may discover new ways to live with purpose, discipline, and gratitude. The lows provide the opportunity to transform not only physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. They strip away illusions of invincibility and force confrontation with reality, creating the conditions for growth and renewal. Athletes provide clear examples of this truth. A runner who fails to complete a race, a player who loses a championship, or a competitor who injures themselves during training is confronted with a low moment that demands reflection. They study their performance, evaluate weaknesses, and refine strategies. The lows become lessons in patience, perseverance, and dedication. Through reflection, they transform setbacks into improved performance, mistakes into mastery, and loss into preparation for greater achievement. Creativity, too, thrives through lows. A writer who faces repeated rejection, a musician whose songs are ignored, or an artist whose work receives criticism experiences frustration, doubt, and disillusionment. Yet the lows force reflection. What is the essence of my message? What skills need improvement? What sacrifices am I willing to make for my vision? In this space, transformation occurs. The artist owns their craft, discovers a unique voice, and emerges with work that resonates more deeply. Without the low, the reflection might never happen, and the breakthrough would be delayed even in everyday life. Lows create space for reflection that leads to profound transformation. A parent juggling overwhelming responsibilities, a student facing pressure from expectations, or an individual navigating financial or emotional hardship experiences moments of pause and introspection. They reflect on priorities, values, and choices. They see what truly matters, and they transform habits, attitudes, and actions. The lows, uncomfortable as they are teachers. They offer clarity, they demand honesty, and they invite change that cannot be forced or rushed. The reality is that transformation is rarely immediate or convenient. It emerges from the stillness that lows provide, from the opportunity to reflect deeply, and from the courage to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves, our choices, and our circumstances. Reflection is the bridge between struggle and growth, between challenge and purpose, and between despair and renewal. The low moments, when life slows us down, when pressure mounts, and when everything seems uncertain, are fertile ground for transformation because they remove distractions, reveal truths, and invite conscious change. Every challenge, every setback, every disappointment carries within it the seed of reflection and transformation. The student, the entrepreneur, the parent, the athlete, the artist, the worker, all experience the same principle. Lows are not to be feared or avoided. They are to be embraced as spaces where the mind can think deeply, the heart can examine its motives, and the soul can recalibrate. In this reflection, transformation is born, and life begins to move forward with renewed clarity, purpose, and strength. Many people look at life and see highs as the ultimate goal, as if success, recognition, and comfort are the end of the journey. They chase them relentlessly, seeking achievement, approval, and material rewards. But what they fail to understand is that the highs are never fully meaningful without the lows that prepare us to receive them. Consider a young professional who dreams of leading a company. At first, they may struggle with rejection, criticism, and failure in smaller roles. The task may seem insignificant, the effort exhausting, and the recognition scarce. Yet each challenge, each setback, each moment of being overlooked is preparing them. These lows are the classrooms of life, teaching discipline, patience, humility, and resilience. When the opportunity for leadership finally arrives, they are ready, not just in skills, but in character, focus, and understanding. Without the lows, the highs would be shallow, fleeting, and unearned. Think about students striving for excellence. The long nights of studying, the failed attempts at mastering complex subjects, and the pressure of exams that feel impossible all feel like obstacles. Yet, each struggle, each moment of doubt is preparing them for the higher moments. The graduation ceremony, the recognition of their hard work, and the doors that open for them in life. The lows are not punishments, they are preparation. They teach endurance, focus, and the ability to overcome challenges that others might give up on. The highs that follow are sweeter, richer, and more meaningful because of the preparation endured in the valleys. Consider the lives of athletes who achieve greatness. A sprinter who falls during practice, a basketball player who misses multiple games, a swimmer who misses qualification by milliseconds. All experience lows that test their will, determination, and skill. Yet these setbacks are not the end of their story. They are the training grounds for future victory. The losses sharpen technique, build mental strength, and cultivate resilience. The moment they finally win a championship, set a record, or achieve a personal best, the triumph is amplified by the journey through struggle. Without the lows, the highs would feel hollow, and the athlete would not fully appreciate the victory because they would not have experienced the growth necessary to handle success. Even in personal relationships, lows prepare individuals for deeper connections. A person who experiences betrayal, disappointment, or heartbreak learns lessons about patience, empathy, and understanding. These experiences are painful, yet they prepare them to love more deeply, communicate more effectively, and build relationships that are strong, meaningful, and lasting. The lows teach what is essential, what can be tolerated, and what must be protected. When healthier, more fulfilling relationships arise, they are built on the wisdom, discernment, and emotional resilience cultivated during the challenging seasons of life. Entrepreneurs know this truth well. A small business owner may face bankruptcy, clients may leave, and strategies may fail. Each low point feels devastating, yet it is preparing them for the next level. The struggles teach lessons about planning, risk management, resourcefulness, and the importance of persistence. When the business finally thrives, when clients return, when growth accelerates, the owner understands the value of preparation through hardship. The highs are not accidental. They are the result of lessons learned, strength developed, and character built during the lows. The preparation makes them capable of handling success responsibly, sustainably, and strategically. Even in daily life, lows prepare individuals for future highs. A parent juggling multiple jobs to provide for their children faces exhaustion, frustration, and sacrifice. Yet the resilience, time management skills, and discipline cultivated in these low moments prepare them for a brighter, more stable future. When the children succeed, when financial stability improves, or when opportunities arise, the parent is equipped to guide, manage, and lead effectively. The highs are possible because the lows force growth, endurance, and strategic thinking. Creativity thrives on lows as well. A writer whose manuscripts are rejected repeatedly, a musician whose songs go unheard, an artist whose exhibitions fail to attract attention. All endure periods of doubt, frustration, and struggle. Yet each setback prepares them for future breakthroughs. The discipline to continue, the lessons learned from critique, and the refinement of skill ensure that when success comes, it is not fleeting but transformative. The lows teach patience, perseverance, and mastery. which are essential for sustaining the highs when they arrive, even in spiritual life. Lows are preparation for greater understanding, wisdom, and peace. Moments of doubt, struggle, and adversity allow reflection, self-examination, and the cultivation of faith. When clarity, guidance, or breakthrough comes, the individual is ready to receive it fully. Without the lows, the highs might be missed or undervalued. The lows cultivate a readiness of heart, mind, and spirit, ensuring that the blessings, insights, and opportunities that follow are fully appreciated and maximized. The reality is that highs without preparation are fleeting and often unfulfilling. It is the lows that build endurance, strength, insight, and patience. Every challenge, every failure, every moment of struggle carries within it the seeds of preparation for the highs that are to come. The lows are not obstacles to avoid. They are opportunities to develop the skills, mindset, and character necessary to thrive when life rewards effort and perseverance. The young professional, the student, the athlete, the entrepreneur, the parent, the artist, all experience this universal truth. The highs are sweeter, more profound, and more sustainable because the lows have prepared them for the responsibility, understanding, and endurance required to handle success. The lows teach perspective, patience, and resilience, ensuring that when life elevates us, we are capable of handling the weight of success without being overwhelmed. The lows are the laboratories of growth, the classrooms of endurance, and the rehearsal stages for the performance of our lives. Each struggle, setback, and challenging moment is intentionally designed to prepare us for the highs that follow, ensuring that we not only reach success, but are capable of sustaining it, appreciating it, and using it for purpose beyond ourselves. Life has a way of testing every person in moments when everything seems uncertain, when circumstances appear impossible, and when hope feels fragile. Many people look at struggles, failures, and disappointments as signs of defeat, as proof that life is against them, or as evidence that they are not capable. But the truth is that lows are not punishments, they are the laboratories where true faith is cultivated. Consider a young professional who suddenly loses their job. Bills pile up, responsibilities remain, and the future seems clouded in doubt. The instinct is to panic, to rely on appearances, and to grasp for immediate solutions that may not exist. Yet in that very moment of uncertainty, the person has a choice to trust in their own understanding or to place faith in something greater than what they see. As they pause, reflect, and continue to move forward with trust, they begin to cultivate faith that does not depend on circumstance. A faith that remains steady even when the world shakes. Look at a student who has worked tirelessly, yet fails an important exam. The fear of judgment, disappointment, and failure is overwhelming. The natural response might be to despair, to believe that their effort was in vain, or to give up. But the low moment becomes an opportunity to develop trust beyond the immediate result. The student begins to understand that life's outcomes are not always predictable, that value and purpose are not determined by a single event, and that perseverance is guided by belief in something greater than what is visible. Through this struggle, faith is strengthened, and the understanding grows that challenges are not signs of abandonment, but invitations to trust more deeply. Personal relationships offer another vivid example. A person may experience betrayal, heartbreak, or conflict with a loved one. The pain is intense and emotions demand attention. Yet in the midst of disappointment,